And up here in the top right-hand corner, from the Team Acer, clad in the purple. Ladies and gentlemen, all killed just last night, in fact. If you guys did miss that broadcast, it was 5-0. Pretty incredible stuff going on there. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Scarlett. Scarlett facing off against, in the bottom left-hand corner, from the Team Evil Geniuses. This guy just gives his heart and soul to esports, and it's so great to see him doing so well as of late. Ladies and gentlemen, Suppy in the red.
That's right. Suppy's a player who's had some pretty good results recently. Really stepped up in the Aces ROG tournament. But now he's going to have to combat against a 10 pool from Scarlett. We actually saw her do this last night. I believe it was against Killer, Dignitas Killer. Opened up with a 10 pool and decided to do a little bit of damage afterwards. This was a way for her to keep on pressure into a a Speedling all-in, which eventually got her safe enough after she killed her opponent's main to make a couple of roaches and just pretty convincingly win the game from there on out.
Yeah, that was actually that was the game where both players basically went for a ton of Speedlings.
Yes.
And then Killer. It's the fun thing about ZVZ is you really have to realize like exactly what your opponent's position is. Like a lot of, other matchups, like scouting what they're doing and countering their build. But in this, you're both working with the same stuff. So a lot of it comes down to just, well, does he have more or do I have more? He has more. Okay, how can I do this then? How can I make this work? You look at a player like Lenok, they decide to go tunneling claws and hit various expansions and attack in all different directions. If you had looked at last night with Killer, he could have gone to a situation where going for a counterattack would have been his best option while he waited for that Baneling nest. So I love ZVZ in that respect. It really it brings out people's creativity.
Well, Suppy may not need the most creativity here. Thankfully for him, he has decided to go for pool first, so he'll have Zerglings in time to defend. Now, he sees all the Zerglings making their way across the map with his well-placed Overlord, so I wouldn't expect anything other than the Queen and a bunch of Zerglings here. Still getting that gas, though. Make sure he can get speed eventually. Already a Spinecrawler's coming up, but he's actually just going to give up the natural.
Okay. One of the advantages to doing this is that Suppy's going to feel a lot more comfortable droning. We see that he's making the Queen is going to make 6 Zerglings, which I'm a little bit surprised by. Well, you know what? The Queen is actually a little bit late here, so... but yeah, the big thing for Suppy is going to be massive quantities of droning behind this. Actually, okay, where I get surprised is that he's making 8 Zerglings, but just wants to really, really be safe, it appears. So
right, but of course, since Scarlett decided to do this a little bit beforehand,
this is a drone,
she has an extra inject at the moment.
Yep.
Yeah, but Suppy's already got gas income making his way in. Scarlett just started hers. She's also going up to a hatchery, which is significantly ahead of her opponents. Suppy actually producing a ton of lings at the moment. Another 4 joining the 6 already on the field. Looks like he wants to get out there and at least protect this expansion.
So one of the advantages you have to, if your opponent goes for a 10 pool, is that you can anticipate that unless they're going for a super all-in play, that they don't have any gas, or at least they don't have it as quickly as you do, which is the case, but it's actually impressive that Scarlett is just so close behind. But it's not uncommon to see you try to force a cancel on your opponent's hatchery when they open with a 10 pool.
And as we can see, though, Zerglings was actually started exactly at the same time. Because of the time it actually took to put up the next hatchery, he ended up was a little bit behind on his minerals, and both approached 100-100 at exactly the same time. So after all of that, Scarlett has a 6-worker advantage. She's down by 1 queen at the moment, but she is up considerably in a lot of respects, especially with that second base already done.
Yeah, and she's continuing to mine a lot of gas right now, Kevin. It's pretty interesting. We got to see what she intends to go for. It looks like a Baneling nest to start, but that's not the end of it, folks. She's still mining with 3. And I just want to highlight that Suppy here, I mean, he's going so middle of the road now. Right now, it's almost like hurting him because he's got a lot of Zerglings that he can't do anything with. He doesn't have enough drones, and he's got the Spinecrawler, of course, which he lost the drone for, and he lost the drone, and his hatchery's late. The only advantage we can give to Suppy is that Queen.
That's right. So he'll have additional injects, but that's when his next hatchery gets done. And he'll need to catch up for the ones that Scarlett has already had. So Scarlett, excuse me, still up by 4 workers on an even number of lings. Actually, slightly superior number of lings. But there's already a Spinecrawler here along with the Queen, and honestly, Suppy won't take too much damage from this. There are a couple of Banelings that are morphing in, I guess next to the Zelnaga Tower. No, I guess they're defensive Banelings back at home.
So Scarlett, I mean, she is droning now. We do have those defensive banelings. We were talking about, you know, that Suppy could easily just make a lot of lings and go for a big counter. It's not an uncommon play. But at this point, I mean, now both players, I think, yeah, both players getting their lair almost at the exact same time. Scarlett is on 3 gases. Suppy is on 4. There goes the 4th one, actually, for Scarlett now. So guys are looking pretty identical on their builds. It's just that Scarlett's a little bit ahead because we saw Suppy make a lot of Zerglings very early. And a Spine. And a Spine Crawler.
That's right, but this is certainly not an unwinnable position now. You know,
not at all.
We talk about this in the past, that let's say you are at a power level of 10 and your opponent is at a power level of 5. Well, if you maintain that separation as you continue throughout the game, and eventually you go all the way up to where you're a power level of 100 and your opponent's only 5 behind at a 95, well, that's a much smaller difference than it was at the early stage of the game. So Suppy, the longer he delays this game and the better he is about defending little attacks, he's going to start to pull even.
Right. And I mean, right now we see that Suppy, you know, he's going to be opting for Aspire, so going to try to force some sort of an advantage through that, whereas Scarlett, on the other hand, going for Roach and Fester, but a pretty quick infestation pit, combined with the fact that she went for 4 very quick gases. Like, the gases were pretty much just as fast as those mutas. You got a 100-second build time on the Spire, and your Infestors, you got Pathogen Glands is 80 seconds, so 30 plus 50, which is how long it takes to make an Infestor. Those mutas are going to be arriving pretty much right as the Infestor spawn.
It'll be close. It certainly will be, and we'll see if you know, if Scarlett has what it takes to defend against this. Because even still, just a handful of nice job there, actually deny a third. Just a handful of mutas can actually do a pretty effective job at denying quite a bit of not just economy. Whoa, those Zerglings got really close there, but it looks like he's going to be content with losing a few Zerglings to make sure that the banelings are taken out while Suppy swings in with the rest. But even just a couple of well-positioned mutas and then going right into Roach and Fester afterwards can buy you the time and denial of bases that you sometimes need.
Suppy doesn't finish off the Extractor, of course, because the Roaches arrive. Gonna pick off the drone, though, so that's gonna delay the third from Scarlett. Yes, he loses some links, but definitely a worthwhile trade there. Not only delaying the third, but getting a drone as well. Spire finishes up. One thing, Scarlett forgot to start her Infestor. She's starting about 20 seconds late. It doesn't look like it's gonna matter, but you know, it definitely could have in many situations. Definitely a little preoccupied with Suppy's attack there.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like Suppy was equivalently delayed just a bit on his own units, so his mutas are going to pop up at about the same time that we see those Infestors in play. And there they go, 8 across the map. The unfortunate part, though, is that Suppy is very, very supply blocked, very supply blocked, needing to put up 3 Overlords at the same time and just continually banking resources. So he decides to invest in infrastructure, make a couple defensive banelings, put up Roach Warren, go for +1 missile attacks, so that he can expend those resources a little bit. But he'd certainly like to have additional drones, additional units out there.
All right, so the mutas are heading straight over towards the third base. We can see Scarlett taking all of her Overlords home. So those are maybe 1, 2 at absolute most. That second one's already too safe. So we could see 1 Overlord picked off. That's going to be all that happens, though.
And looks like Suppy doing a nice job of keeping his mutas spread out there a little bit. Just going to duck in with 2 here, try and do some damage to these Infestors. They are fragile, but still 2 mutas take a very long time to actually kill. Nice job freezing those right above the Spore Crawlers, though.
Yeah, I was equally impressed by that. So a nice composition thus far of Lings, Roaches, and Infestors coming out of Scarlett. We'll see if she opts for the slightly more Ling-heavy mobile force that is really apt when it comes to counterattacks, or if goes for the more sturdy composition that lets you engage straight up with heavy Roach. We do see she's working on +2. That could, of course, just be for the Infested Terrans, because there is no Carapace here, so...
Right. All right, well, we'll see what pops out here momentarily. But, you know, taking a look at things, everything's pretty normal at the moment. 73 workers to 55, so a big economic advantage for Suppy at the moment. But, of course, he's a little light on units. No Infestors to 8, no Roaches, so not a lot of frontline power in his force. He does have a pretty good backstab army available to him.
Yeah, and, you know, that's the same thing we're seeing out of Scarlett. I want to highlight that for our Zerg players out there that, you know, are really obsessed with double Evo upgrades, as I was for a really long time. You only, if you want to go for a heavy, you can go for a heavy Infestor-based army and just get the +2. You go a lot of Lings, you go a smaller amount of Roaches, just enough to keep your Infestor safe, and you rely on your infested Terrans for the damage.
Yeah.
It makes, I mean, and as you said, the backstab potential of both players here is pretty potent because we see them both going for just these attack upgrades.
Yeah, I mean,
no carapace.
You're not as concerned about the survivability of your infested Terrans, so the carapace doesn't matter as much there. You just want to get the brute force out on the field. So,
yeah, if they're staying to kill your infested Terrans, they've already done their job. Trust me.
Exactly. Trading energy for units is precisely what you want. So. Oh, no, we sometimes perform fruit snack aerobatics while on air, and I do believe Paul was just trying to toss me fruit snacks. So that I don't know if that was just a creative insult on his part or what that was.
You know, you did used to go by cat's pajamas, so I can see the reference. I like tossing animals to my pets.
Yeah.
So it could be like, you know, having a little bit of fun with the name there, but.
Well, these Mutalisks have certainly proven to actually... I mean, look at this. There's a few Infestors that don't have any energy left. So that he's making the best of a bad situation and swinging around with some Zerglings around the side. May even be able to finish off. No, it looks like he's going to go right after units. Don't think he would have been able to get the Extractor either, but he does force more Banelings killed. So Suppy doing a nice job to draw even as he's on a 4th base a lot faster than Scarlett and actually already going up to his 5th down in the bottom right-hand corner. Yeah,
both players just macroing tons here. And this is... the style of game that is a little bit surprising to me right now because we've seen both players go for the tech path and the unit composition that lets them do these counters, but no player really opting to follow through with that. They seem pretty timid. I think they both realize, okay, you're getting attack upgrades, you're not getting carapace. If I backstab you, you're just gonna backstab me. They're kind of just sitting and waiting.
Yeah, but +2 is going to finish up for Suppy here soon. But of course, Scarlett is actually getting +1 Carapace now, a little bit later in the game, but when she most needs it. The Infestor is getting a little bit too far forward there, but Suppy's honestly able to clean up a good number of units right at the very front without taking too much damage himself. So a nice little engagement win for him. He's got 11 more Hydras popping up, along with all the relevant upgrades. Scarlett's being a lot quicker to go to Hive, though.
Yeah, her Hive already about a third of the way done. Looks like she's going to start pressuring here. She's maxed out at essentially 190 for both players. Infested Terrans going down. Fungal Growth catches 1 Infestor, 3 Roaches, and a Hydra. Scarlett not too worried about that, though. Nice Fungal Growth, going to capture 3 Infestors. Scarlett needs to be careful here, though. Coming down with just 1 Infestor at a time. You could see, actually, she does get a couple caught. 3 Infestors lost for Scarlett on the high ground, and actually, Suppy gets away with his.
He did lose a couple down there, but it wasn't as bad as Scarlett did. Lost his Overseer and a little bit of Roaches as well. Or no, he didn't lose his Overseer. My apologies. Still, though, he's put a hold on this attack for a while. These Infested Terrans obviously have very high DPS, and they are going to be able to knock out this gas, which is a nice gain. I mean, that's limiting your opponent's gas, because now she's sitting on gas number 7 and 8. Suppy's only on 7 at the time when she wants to tech up to Hive. Suppy's made no such move. So, a little bit of difference between these players. Looks like there is going to be more gas popping up down here in the bottom right-hand corner, and Suppy's trying to counterattack with Roaches into his opponent's 4th.
And this is going to send Scarlett home. This is enough Roaches, so but Suppy's now going to be able to take the position. We can already see him moving up on the mini-map as Scarlett's going to have to come home to contend with these Roaches. There are Spine Crawlers in position, buying her a little bit of time, but Suppy seems to be ignoring them, targeting down the Hatchery. Hatchery's going to fall. These Roaches will be forfeit, but the Hatchery goes down.
And at the same time, Suppy gets into position with the rest of his forces around the side. And I don't know if he has enough right here to take on his opponent, but whoa, he is going to go for it. This is a tiny little choke point there, and Fungal certainly a possibility. 2 Fungals actually hitting these Infestors. They have to use their energy very, very soon, and they do. They get out a few Infested Terrans, but these very hurt Hydralisks are up at the front and tanking most of the damage, and even with Infested Terrans, that's not going to be near enough. And Suppy is driven back.
Yeah, definitely got to question the decision there by Suppy to move up that ramp. You know, StarCraft, split-second decisions. It's very easy to make mistakes when you have a 1/10 of a second to make them, and Suppy, unfortunately, getting the wrong end of that one. Does throw a Fungal down before losing that Infestor, but his 4th base looks like it's going to go down as well here. And
that's why he's not critically behind in this game, because he still has a couple more bases worth of production here to help him out. He's actually up 2 hatcheries on his opponent right now. Scarlett's trying to reestablish her 4th, yes, but Suppy will be able to reinforce his forces pretty quickly. She, though, is going up towards Spire. Yeah. She already has Hive down, so we're going to see greater Spire here in a bit. Suppy still has a surprisingly small amount of gas income. This base had been denied by Scarlett. 3 Roaches already sitting down in position.
So Scarlett seems really happy with her position right now. You know, yeah, she lost that 4th base, but she's got the Hive tech. Suppy does not. She's got a Spire 3/4 of the way done. Broodlord's going to be possibly on the field here in a moment. And, well, I mean, Kevin, she could have had that 4th base, realized the possibility for Suppy coming in with reinforcements, and decided, meh, I'm just going to pull back.
We'll see if that's going to work out for her, though, because, you know, Suppy's been able to recover nicely, even though he has less of a bank than Scarlett does at the moment. We mentioned the 2 hatchery advantage, and that's really paid itself off in spades. Now, especially because Suppy's going to be able to utilize much more gas. A couple of infestors running around the top, little Brofester hit squad. Nice, they're actually going to pick up on this drone. We'll see if Suppy tears one after it. No, looks like he just had those on a move command and was probably watching the rest of his army that he's positioning in the middle of the map.
Suppy's going to be attacking while these infested Terrans go down, so Scarlett can't pull back her forces to deal with them. A beautiful maneuver here. We'll see if the engagement at the front pays off for him, but the one in the back, that third, could possibly even be targeted down. Nice fungal growth. Going to capture a number of units around the spine crawler. And yeah, we can see these infested Terrans are just doing work, killing so many of those drones.
That was a really nice job. Yeah, I mean, those drones actually bit the dust pretty quickly. Scarlett had inflicted some economic damage initially, but Suppy came right back and did more right to her. So now Suppy's working off of this base completely. He really needs to get this other gas up and going, though, because that's his limiting factor in trying to replace his forces. Scarlett's a little bit quicker to Greater Spire, actually considerably quicker to Greater Spire, and it looks like Suppy's actually going up to Double Spire to try and make up the upgrade disadvantage.
All right, well, a small engagement going down here over near the third base. But Suppy's the one sitting who has the positional advantage right now. He's sitting right above Scarlett's third. Scarlett's starting to move up the ramp. Suppy not paying attention. Could be throwing down huge fungals right now, but misses out on the opportunity. Now his infestors are caught. He's got to throw down his infested Terrans. Is flanking from the bottom, though, with a very nice layered attack here. We'll see what he can make of it. And
infested Terrans versus infested Terrans favors the person who threw them out first, usually. And Suppy did get those down a bit quicker. Scarlett has a few infested Terrans to try and cover her retreat, but it looks like the Roaches are not going to give up pursuit. They're just going to pick off these infestors one by one.
Oh, no Overseer here, though, so it looks like they will escape for the moment at least. But yeah, Suppy definitely getting the upper hand for the moment in that engagement. Both players remaxing pretty much instantly. We can see Suppy actually isn't replenishing his forces. He's waiting for some Corruptors.
Yeah, Corruptors and Broodlords, but it's going to be a while before those get on the map. Scarlett does have a few Corruptors of her own, and at the same time, she's actually counterattacking with some Zerglings. She actually cleaned up the base. I apologize about that. There was an engagement going on up at the top, so she cleans out a base and now sits a hatchery up on her opponent. So a crazy back and forth game here.
Yeah.
But Suppy's just kind of delaying for the time being, trying to buffer that Corruptor count and wait for Broodlords.
Kind of been like light swings back and forth, though. Nothing too major quite yet. And it definitely could reside with how back and forth this game has proven to be so far. If one player swings pretty hard but isn't able to quite get it, it could definitely swing back on the other player's favor, you know, with how volatile this game's proven. But as of now, yeah, you definitely got to give the advantage for the moment, at least, to Scarlett.
All right, well, but at the same time, there's a bunch of Roaches here in the top left-hand corner, so Suppy, trying to swing that pendulum back in his favor, just needs to focus down the hatchery, and it looks like he will do just that. Banelings kind of wasting themselves there, not really necessary for those to be involved, and that's actually a little bit of a free resource gain. But Suppy is dropping in with more infested Terrans. He's now equaled the amount of workers that he's lost himself, and we continue to have this back and forth struggle. 9 Broodlords morphing in, and the reason that Suppy's moving out right now with all these forces, yeah, he's not doing that much damage, but he wants to keep Scarlett just squarely pinned in on her side of the map so these Broodlords finish morphing up.
Yeah, a lot of Broodlords inbound right now for Suppy, actually. A huge quantity. And as you said, these counterattacks doing a fantastic job of keeping Scarlett in her base. But here's the thing. Scarlett's at 200 supply. Suppy's currently at only 155. Also doesn't have enough gas to really make that much. We can see making a ton of drones right now, hopefully to get some gas mining over at that 5th base. Scarlett simultaneously taking her 6th. So very nice map control for Scarlett, but is she going to be able to deal with this huge Broodlord count?
Let's see here. It's 9 Broodlords to 6 at the moment, and the first few Corruptors are actually up for Suppy, and hopefully he keeps those as Corruptors because that could be actually what provides the advantage that he needs in this game.
Yeah, it definitely could, Kevin. And it looks like he is, well, he is continuing to save up gas, so he could have a slight intention to morph him, but he just made another 7. 4th base in the bottom, or I don't even know what base this is at this point, in the bottom right-hand corner for Suppy, going to get taken out by a nice little hit squad from Scarlett.
All right, and the Broodlords are actually driving down the Broodlings up at the front and taking a lot of the damage from the Spine Crawlers while Fungals continue to hit the right. At the same time, he's actually going to attack with Zerglings here in the upper left-hand corner, but he's also taking some damage from Scarlett's continued backstab, which has actually done so much damage. Now, here in the middle, Suppy's actually in a really bad position because these Broodlords were gotten up right underneath by these infested Terrans, and 5 of them were picked off right away.
He didn't have an Overseer with the army, so he's not able to see the burrowed infestors out of Scarlett. It looks like they may, the Overseers definitely could have been sniped off by the Corruptors by Scarlett, which would have been a great play. Zergling's going to be taking out the fifth base of Scarlett, but in the bottom right, third has gone down for Suppy. Scarlett's counterattack's definitely proving to do a little bit more damage than Suppy so far.
There are only 3 spine crawlers up to defend as well, but at the same time, Suppy's just going to move in attack too. So we have a little bit of a base trade on our hands as Scarlett continues to just fly into her opponent's base. Fungal Grow's actually hitting a lot of these Zerglings, so they're going to be very, very weak. Multiple bases going down for both players. These Broodlords continue to move up and siege themselves up, and the Corruptor count for Suppy was quite advantageous, but now Scarlett waited until she had enough Corruptors to start moving back these forces, and these Broodlords are all but dead.
Yeah, that's just run your Corruptors away, Suppy, and save them for another day because Scarlett has a huge advantage right there. The fourth base doesn't go down for Scarlett, so nice advantage there. Third, however, has fallen to those Zerglings, so both players right now are mining a actually, Scarlett, this sixth base that she set up in the bottom right has gone unscouted by Suppy, I believe. Let's take a look actually at his vision. We can see his Overlord, it appears, is able to see it, but I don't know if he's noticed it quite yet. Only now the Extractor comes into vision.
All right, well, hey, a couple of pretty good fungal growths there. Scarlett loses a couple more infestors, but man, this is so tough for Suppy at the moment. He is down by over 100, or by 100 supply right now, and his Zergling counterattacks have proven to be pretty effective, and it looks like he will be able to deny at least a couple of bases. Not this one here, but he's inside of the main and doing more damage, at least getting a look at what's happening. And it looks like he's just going to go right after the Greater Spire.
Yeah, he might get it. Lots of Zerglings coming in. What's the health from that Greater? Nah, I think it's going to live. A lot of Zerglings speeding. Oh, those are Roaches and Hydras, actually, but either way, should be just fine. Even Transfuse is going to save that Greater Spire for sure.
All right, so now Suppy, he's in a really, really tough spot. He's down 42 workers to 61. He's got 8 Corruptors on the field, but that's his primary force, and it's already outmatched by Scarlett, who has 13. He's got 3 Infestors. She has 9. He has no Broodlord. She has 3.
Yeah, we were talking how it could swing back and forth, but I think this is just a little bit too far. Scarlett did enough damage that Suppy is kind of... He's just incapacitated. There's really nothing he can do. He's got, yeah, this base towards the 9 o'clock position functioning to a certain degree, but he's just been so reset right now, and Scarlett is actually pretty stable.
Yeah, she is, actually. And she's just continuing to take the rest of the map. I mean, it's a good job of her to not just overcommit and be like, there's weakness, so I'm just going to go kill my opponent. She's continuing with backstabs. She's making sure that she has the most powerful army imaginable. She's increasing her Broodlord counts. Really, everything is going right. Yes, she may lose a base to this backstab, but that's not her primary concern.
She's not losing workers. She keeps losing bases, but very... I mean, what is the worker kill tab, actually? I mean, I know at this point at favorite, 52 to 21. Now, you lose a hatchery, but when you're both taking 6 or 7... Like, here it is again. Suppy trying to target down a hatchery. Scarlett doesn't care. She has so many hatcheries all over the board. She's just been moving drones around when a hatchery falls. But Suppy, on the other hand, he lost every single drone. Yeah, GG. Suppy's going to have to call it, guys. Too much behind, and that's going to start things off with a 1-0 for Scarlett.
That's right. So, theoretically, the last 6 games in a row she's been on IPL, she's won, if you include that all-kill of Dignitas last night, and making things look pretty good there against Suppy. I mean, Suppy certainly had the potential to do damage at times, and it was very back and forth for a while, but in the end, Scarlett's little advantages just kept adding up.
Absolutely, guys. Well, we're going to cut to a quick break. That was a super long game. I'm sure you guys could use a drink of water or a delicious tuna melt sandwich. So we'll catch you back in about 2 minutes. In the meantime, make sure you go sign up at IGN.com/ is it the IPL5 promos is where we're giving out the tickets?
Yes, it is.
All right, guys. So make sure you jump on over there. And we got a nice break. Maybe you can score yourself some tickets, and we'll see you at IPL5.
IGN.com/ IPL5 promo, and you can pick up GA tickets there from our friends at Nadio and Ubisoft's new FPS shooter. That's very redundant. The redundancy department of redundancy, I guess. I don't know. IGN.com/ IPL5 promo. I sure hope not. That would just be silly.
Makes sense, though.
You can pick up some GA tickets to that if you just go ahead and follow the on-screen instructions. We're going to run to a commercial break, though. While we're away, go ahead and do that. We'll be back for game number 2 between Suppy and